I'm working on my budget 40-gallon breeder setup. I'm going to raise guppies. It's on the Home Depot 18 by 36 stand. It says it'll hold 800 pounds each shelf, so I think I'm good. The underneath shelves are MDF, which will swell and rot and collapse if it gets wet. So I added some pine trim board under here. Hopefully that holds it and keeps it going. But anyway, the tanks I got really cheap. They had the overflow box drilled and then the return line drilled. And I'm gonna run both down into a 20 long sump, and it'll have the return box and all the filters and then the heaters and the return pumps. I'm rinsing out some Quickcrete all-purpose sand. It was like $7 a bag at Lowe's. It's a little dirty, but I'm rinsing it out. I bought an ice maker kit and I hooked it up to the running water in the room next door here. So I'm adding water and rinsing it, and I have a siphon running here to suck out the dirty water. And I'll use these lines for changing water and so on. I put some heavy brass fittings on the end to hold it down in there so they don't fall out. Working on my plumbing here. Got my return fittings, I'll show you when they're done. And then my my overflows. The overflow drain line's going to be 3/4 vinyl, and which I have here. So 3/4 vinyl overflows, and then the return pumps are 3/8 vinyl. I had a hard time finding these fittings, and I had to buy a bunch of them. So if you need any, I'll sell you a couple. They're 1-inch pipe thread to 3/8 vinyl barb fitting. And then I watched a couple videos that said just Vaseline this rubber and jam it in there, and that was fine. And then I watched some other videos that said no, don't do that, silicone everything and goo it up and squeeze it together, it'll never ever leak. So that's what I'm gonna do. I bought a couple tubes of this 100% clear silicone, so we'll see how it does. Here, you want to help me measure this? Here you go. I'm making my sump tank. This is just a piece of egg crate from Lowe's. I got my plumbing in, my overflow, and my return. The reason I piped the return up high and the overflow up a little higher is if this box cracks or leaks or falls off, then I won't lose like 4 inches of water and overflow my sump. And on this side I piped it up high right under the lid so that if I lose a pump or the power goes out, I don't siphon all that water back down and possibly overflow the sump, especially running 2 tanks into one sump. I've read to let that silicone dry 48 hours, but I'm gonna let it dry about a week and then fill these tanks the rest of the way up. This was a fun setup to put together and cheap too. I think the shelf was $80. Everything else I got used. The heaters are keeping up well. They heat the sump and both tanks. The overflows are working real nice. Nice soft sound of water trickling, very relaxing to listen to. If I lose a pump or both pumps or the power goes out, the tanks siphon about a ½ an inch out of each tank, not noticeable, and then the sump fills up to the line, nowhere near overflowing. The top tank I ended up putting pool filter sand in from Ace Hardware, and the heaters and pumps are working great. The 2 water lines each have a valve. One's a siphon valve out of the sump, and the other one is a fill valve, so I can change the water just opening valves real quick. And you can see the top tank, bottom tank, and sump temperature, and it's working great. Can't wait to see how this setup grows.